Been waiting in the water, just trying to survive. But God said there's more for me, more than staying alive. I'm stepping into power, into what was always mine. Divine joy rising, it's my time to shine.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Afternoon, right? Good afternoon. I'm Diane Anderson Butts, and I am the soul care strategist of Divine Joy. This show is Daughters of Divine Joy, and I come here every Thursday so we can have a little chat. Today, we're going to be talking about becoming us becoming the women we want to be. And guess what? That is not a destination, it's a journey. It is a process of being who you were destined to be, God made you to be, and who you desire to be. So there's a mixture of all those things. So I'm coming to you today from the PA Empowerment Network. And just want to say to you, I will be here for you every Thursday. I'm trying to work out. I will be on vacation from the 11th until the 27th. And I'm trying to figure 27th? Yep, 27th. So I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do this show. So I got my little Hawaii thing looked here on my the clock. So I do know it is 11 a.m. So there should be no problem with me coming to you live from from Oahu. Anyway, so I have been thinking because I don't know if you all noticed, but there is so many people online, magazines, conferences. I think there's even some church retreat groups talking about talking about reinventing themselves. And I know in some of the circles that of social media that I'm on, there's a lot of talk about reinventing, especially for women over 50 and 60, and sometimes as much as 70. Um, and so I don't know about you, but that term reinventing oneself, it never sat well with me. I just don't, I'm not feeling it. I really not. I don't feel it at all. I feel like it says something that I don't agree with. When you say reinvention to me, what I hear is that I needed to change something to the point where I needed to let it all go, like pack it up, put it in a package, a little, a box, and put it out on the curb for the garbage. And I kind of reject that. I just don't feel like God created any part of me that was wrong. Now, there could be parts of me that are not fully realized, and parts of you that are not fully realized, but it doesn't mean that God made a mistake. I understand this though, and I'm going to say this before I start the show or as we're in the beginning of the show because I don't want anybody to take offense. I understand things happen in life and they can throw you for a loop. I understand there are traumas and tragedies that will happen, and you do find yourself starting what feels like starting all over again. But this is what I know, and this is what I want to assure you 42 and 22 are not the same thing. Neither is 52 and 32. They're not the same thing. Even if you do experience one of those things, the wisdom and the knowledge that you've gained just from maturing, you bring that with you. And that's a beautiful thing. That's the beauty of aging because you bring that knowledge with you. It doesn't go anywhere. You don't have to pack it up. Now, this is what I consider happening with me, this journey, this idea of a journey. I prefer that better because what it says to me is that I'm growing. And so there may be a part of me that I thought was matured and I had it all together in that area, but then something happened, something occurred, and I found out, you know what? I'm even better now than I was back then. I thought I had it together, but I found out there was more to it that I hadn't fully developed into. And so what I consider that we are doing is it's a process of lifelong learning who we are in God, learning who God is, and learning how to persevere, learning how to develop and thrive through all these things that life throws at us. And so I want to say that I do honor the language of reinvention. I understand when you have to start, when you're starting from scratch. Get divorced, you feel like you're starting from scratch. And sometimes women get married and their husbands have most of the money. Or sometimes they have a lot of money, but that joker done ran off with it. Or sometimes in a divorce, especially these days, it's not always the husband is paying alimony. You may not get anything, or you may have to pay him. So, yes, you can feel like you're starting over from scratch, but you are starting with the wisdom and the knowledge that you have. And for me, I think of it as the renewing of the mind. Renewing of the mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So let's sit with this for a while because I've been sitting with it. Um that is my blog for the week on that movement spiritually, in terms of knowledge and skill sets. There's so much of you, especially us older women. There's so much of us that we are carrying with us that are tools. I mean, gifts, the jewels of knowledge, whether it's your career, whether it's how to do certain things, whether it's your spiritual place that you are right now, your peace, your joy that you hold. There are things that you have. Maybe it's even your prayer life. There are things that you have that are stronger today than they were yesterday. And so your tools in having to make a pivot and do something differently, you walking around with a bag of tools that are awesome. So I guess I haven't looked at the things in my life, and I've gone through some difficult things as well. You can read about it in my blog. I don't get into details, but there are some things, and I named them. I named those things that have happened, and we have to name them because I'm. Let me just get this straight too. I don't believe when things happen, when terrible things happen that cause that shake our lives and cause us to have to pivot. I'm not acting like this is some gift from God and you'll understand it better by and by. Sometimes you're never able to wrap your hands around it. You're never able to understand why that happened at that moment to you. You may never understand it, but you learn how to live through it, grow through it, change through it, adapt through it to get to the other side of it. And the same God that was keeping you before the thing happened is the same God that's with you as you're managing to get through it. And the same God is going to be with you when you get to the other side. Can I get an amen? Okay, where my ladies at? Miss Cat, Miss McCall, Miss Bunny. I know y'all listening. So I want to get into this a little deeper. Um because when I hear reinvention, I just say, nah, I kind of think it's more like growth. It's just something different. I have become, I'm a lifelong learner. I am one of those older women. When I hear about a new technology or a new gadget, I want to know about it. I'll read articles about it. I'll read articles on how to use it. I'll read articles on the danger of it. I read articles on the plus. I may even go to some free trainings that I see advertised on the internet. Alicia Little is one of the women that I love to follow for AI training and advice. She has free things that she does. There's also some low cost things that she does. But when you want to get into the nitty gritty nuts and bolts of how to make money with her, you're going to spend a dime or two. And it's all right because she is extremely, she and her sister are extremely knowledgeable women, and these, women of color, and they are brilliant. So they're somebody to follow. I like AI. I enjoy what it can do. Am very cautious with it. I don't go to it for advice. I do research it for information, and I always check where the information came from and double check it to make sure it's true. I will ask for things like when I'm writing my blog, I want to have it edited. For not the style, because I know the style of my voice. I edit it for just fluency and making sure that my grammar is right and stuff like that. But I don't allow it to give me ideas. I don't allow it to direct what I'm saying. And I push back and I will, no, we're not doing it that way because that's not how I want it. And the other thing is, I know AI doesn't understand feelings, doesn't understand human beings having a human experience on this earth. And so, therefore, my ideas are my ideas. It can't tell me how to write this. And so anyway, yes, I keep up with all of that because I feel like I have to. I don't want to get older and I'm sitting around saying, Lord, I need one of my grandkids to come by here and pay these bills for me. I ain't that chick. I have to know stuff. Okay. I want to know. And so because I love information, I love to have a lot of useless facts and figures, and I say useless because there would be a lot of things that I would know. My friends used to say, "Why do you know this?" They'll ask something about a building being built, or "Oh, I wonder what that is." "Oh, that's a new, apartment complex is coming. It's for the." How do you know this? "Oh, I read an article about it." Why? Because I thought it was interesting. So, my interests are varied, and so for me, I'm always trying to renew my mind. I'm always in the mode of transformation because I want to be all that I can be. I want to be as close to what God was creating in me as I can be. That's my desire. Now other people may not have that desire, but I'm always reforming, reframing, and transforming. Those are the tools that I use a lot of, in addition to prayer and everything else that I use. But I am a lifelong learner. If I got breath, I'm going to be reading about something new, about something I didn't know about before. It may not be interesting to anybody else, but I want to know. May only read one article, but if it's something I really like, hey, I may read more than that. But it's about the journey of becoming. And this stuff, although it adds to what I am, it does not make me, but it helps me to become all that I can be. I don't ever want to think that when I read a scripture, I'd never see anything new in it. I want to believe that every time I read that, God will show me something new. I will have a gain understanding from reading that. Or else, what's the use of going to church? What's the use of going to Bible study if you're going to read the same thing and never get anything new out of it? And in those moments of enlightenment and awakening, it changes us. I don't care if it's new recipes. I remember the first time I came home, I I never knew how to make collard greens. Okay, so I go to my girlfriend's house, and her sister was a vegan, so she said, "Well, I make my collard greens vegan now." And I said, "What you mean vegan?" She said, "I don't put any meat in them." I said, "You got to put meat in collard greens because my people from the south. You gonna put some meat in those collard greens. I don't care if it's smoked turkey, but you gonna put some meat in them." And so I'm like, I don't know if I want that. I said, no, I don't. She said, taste them. She said, no, get a bowl. I said, I don't need a whole bowl. Just give me a little fork or something. She said, get a bowl. So I got a bowl, put like a fork full or two in there, tasted them. I was like, oh, these are good. How did you cook them? And she explained how she cooked them. And so I started cooking mine like that. And my mother said, "You ain't putting no meat in them greens?" I said, "No, mommy, you don't need them. Taste them." And she tasted them. She said, "Oh, these are good." She said, "What you put in them?" I said, "Onions and peppers. I put leeks and scallions, and I put garlic." Garlic? I said, "Yes, garlic." And she started cooking hers like that. Matter of fact, my mother even became a vegan. I think she was in her late 60s when she started being a vegan. It lasted for about 10 years, and then one day she had to have, I don't know, she made some ribs, and that was the end of that. So anyway, lifelong learning for me never stops. And and I believe for most of us, we like to learn some new things. You may not be into AI. It may not be technology or the advances of technology, but maybe it's new recipes and cooking things in new ways. Hey, I made a bread pudding. It was a peach cobbler bread pudding. Whew, child, that thing was good. Now I would never make peach cobbler well, first of all, I don't know how to make it the way my mother made it. But had I knew how to do that, and had I been so fixed in my mind that I never thought about having it another way, I wouldn't have done it. But I like bread pudding, I like cobbler, so I figured, let me put this together. And it was excellent, made with croissants instead of any other kind of bread. Next time I do it, I'm gonna try it with brioche because that has the same buttery bread. In terms of understanding, I bought an electric car because, well, I didn't know as much as I thought I knew about it. But anyway, I got a car. It's real cute. It looked good in it too. However, it doesn't get the mileage I really needed to have. But I experimented. I wanted to see how I liked having a electric car. So those are the things that I mean by the renewing of our minds. But who we are as people, that can renew as well. You can become deeper in your faith. Your spiritual understanding and your soul is allowed to grow. We don't need to stay fixed. Our mama's religion doesn't have to be our religion. As a matter of fact, you may want to reject some of those doctrines that your mother knew, or you may want to start questioning, why do I do things this way? We don't have to keep repeating old patterns. And once you give yourself permission to not repeat what was handed to you, then you give yourself permission to grow differently. Is it better? I don't know. But you're more informed. You stretch your imagination, you stretch how you do things, you take on new perspectives. To me, that is growth. It makes you a more interesting person. You have different things to talk about. I know people get comfortable in how they do things and how they wake up every morning and they have their routines and their life is nice and orderly. But God always has a holy disruption. And these things that happen in life are disruptions. But I don't know if I need to reinvent myself because I feel like what I already have is pretty darn good. It has taken me from being a little girl to bringing me to a 67-year-old woman. It has helped me to understand, even, let me tell you, even I started dieting when I was 9 or 8, whatever, it was young. So even now in my weight loss journey, I'm having more success and feel so much better about myself than I have ever felt. I didn't have that when I was younger. So I didn't reinvent myself. I just had more to work with. I had opened my mind to different ways of eating and had the discipline this time to be successful. I am looking at, I think right now I'm at 20, 28 pounds that I've lost. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And so I am on this journey and I love it for myself. I like how people say, "Oh, I love that for you." But I love it for me too. That's why I'm doing it. When I was about 23, my hairstylist, I had, was I that young? Yeah, I was, I'll say about 27, 28. I met this hairstylist in Inglewood, New Jersey, and she would do my hair. And so we became friends, started hanging out with her, and doing different things with her. And I met a lot of people in Bergen County because of her. Um, and I remember this woman who I, liked, would talk to all the time, admired her. And she was saying, she had a little weight on her as well. And she said, I have so much that I'm busy. She was an attorney. She said, I got cases, I got this, that, and the other. I work for myself. I'm self-employed. If I'm not working, who's going to be doing it? I don't have time. And one of her friends, and she was referring to exercising, going to the gym, and doing all this, oh, excuse me, meal prep stuff. One of her friends says, "Listen to me. I love you, and I want you to be on this earth as long as you desire. Having this weight is not going to achieve that. I want you to love you as much as I love you so that you are motivated to find the time to take care of you." And that hit me. That is something I carried with me to this day because I'm telling you about it. So, it really impacted me. Love yourself enough to find the time to take care of you. And a lot of us don't do that. So, even though I may not have understood it so that I turned it into action when I was 28. I mean, I did have my moments where, I might drop, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Wasn't that heavy, I think, in my mind and what I had been, the way I had been taught to look at myself made me think I was bigger than what I was. But now I do understand that there's a certain place I don't want to be in terms of poundage numbers, and I am getting close to where I want to be. And that's good because that's a more healthier zone for me. My knees enjoy it, my hips enjoy it, my back enjoy it, and my ankles enjoy it. And as long as my body is enjoying it, I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. Okay. And even though you get off track sometime, but you get back on the picture. That's what I'm talking about, the renewing of your mind. I don't have to go back to that old place and just stay there just because it tastes good. No, because it's not doing me any good. And that's the way I look at it now. So my perspective has changed. My husband is a snack junkie. He brings home all this stuff. Oh, look what I brought you. And I said, oh, I wish you had no. Oh, you don't want it? I said, oh, I want it, but I'm not going to eat it. Why not? Because it's not going to do anything to help me on my journey. That's why not. And so, in the process of becoming, I have a lot more discipline around food so that I can achieve what I want to achieve because I'm finally there. This caught up. So, the journey to becoming is always ongoing. My denomination is part of the reformed movement, and they say reformed and always reforming. And that's how I feel about myself. I'm always reforming who I am, not reinventing, not starting over, but becoming more. Opening up another layer, finding another depth to who I am. So that I'm not being tossed and froed by the wind and all of this. I don't do what everybody else does just because they do it. Or I feel like it's an expectation. Well, Lord, let me go on out here to this church because I got it. No, I don't do that. I don't. With families, there are some obligations that I will follow through with, but there are times even for family, I'm not doing it. Y'all going to the amusement park? I don't want to go. It's going to be fun. I'm sure it will be for you. I don't like parks. I don't get on the rides anymore, and so I don't want to pay the money. I don't want to be at the park because my family go to the park from opening to closing. Okay, so I don't want to be there for 11 hours. I don't. That's not fun to me. I don't go. Let them go. If they can have fun, I'm going to have fun too here by myself. So now that I know me, I don't have to be bottled up doing things that I don't want to do. I don't have to live up to the expectations of other people if they're not my expectations. I don't have to measure myself by somebody else's yardstick because it ain't mine. And I don't need their validation or approval. So yes, reinventing yourself is something that perhaps you're comfortable with doing, and that's all right. But for me, I look at Paul's explanation: be ye not conformed to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your mind. And as I renew my mind, my desire is to be more aligned with God, more aligned, going this direction. This is God's will, and this is where I am. I don't want God's will's over here, and I'm over here in left field somewhere. No, I want to be more aligned. Am I always aligned? Sometimes I am over in left field, and God is right here. But I know God is always with me, and so I try. I make that m- my desire to be what I was created to be, and all that I was created to be, all of it. I want all of it, every drippity drop of it. And God knows that. And hopefully I'll be like my mother and will live until I'm 90 because I wanted to be all I could be. And next year, my husband and I have made a decision not to travel. He says he's not going anywhere. I said, I am limiting where I'm going. Maybe a long weekend in Martha's Vineyard. We're going to Arizona for a week, but we're staying in this country. We're not doing things that are $5,000, $10,000 for two of us to go on vacation. We're not doing any of that. We're not even going to spend $5,000 because we have other goals that we want to accomplish. I have some things I want to do. He has some things he wants to do, and we have some things we're going to do together. So we're saving our money. All that. And this year I spent a lot on travel. Okay, so we're saving our money, and that's okay because we're not saying we're never going to do it, but we're going to cool out for about a year. And that's just enough time I can get my office together. Um, there's some things we want to do around the house. We're gonna pour into us in our home. Um, and so we do these things because not because we're climbing, but we want to be able to give ourselves the best that God has for us. And if we're not being good stewards of that, then how can we have the best of what God has for us? And the same goes for you as a person. I believe that my latter days are my greater days. And so I live for this latter greatness, this is latter glory. And that's why I gotta keep learning and transforming and renewing my mind because it gets better with time. Things change, but it get better if you allow it to. And so where I am now with my ability to have peace and have joy, the calm that I feel in my spirit, the sleep that I get at night, whoo, I want to have at least 20, 30 more years of this because it feels good. It feels good. But I also want to have my body working and moving and all that. So we have seasons in life, and I have been a single, carefree woman. I had a season of that. Adopted my daughter. I'm in a season of motherhood. Got married when I was 59. Now I'm in a season of being a spouse. And these are roles in my life, but each role adds another layer to who I am. Each role teaches me something new about myself and about God. Because with all new roles, there's challenges, and with all challenges, there's something you got to learn. And God shows up differently because your needs are different and what you know about God are different. So that's why it's different. Okay. So when I say renewing of the mind, it's because there's the one guarantee in life is that things are going to change. And so with these various seasons, I have learned different things. Being a grandmother is not like being a mother. It's a lot more fun because you don't really got to, raise them. You just have fun and enjoyment, indulge them. That's what you do. And so um it's making me understand that the things that I developed as I was going through, as I was experiencing burnout from work, as I was healing from trauma, as I was struggling with difficulty in relationships, those things added to me. They didn't feel good at the time, but they added something. I made choices about my money because of what I have gone through. I made choices about my boundaries because of what I went through. I made obvious and intentional choices about how I spend my time because I know at 67, each day is precious and you don't know how much time you have. And like my mother said, I think I got 90 in me now. Let's see what the Lord's going to say. And I'm trying to cooperate by eating better, getting exercise, and getting this weight off of me. And so I want to say that what are you? Where are you in your life, this season of life? Are you seeking validation from people? Are you still people pleasing? Have you learned how to shut out the noise of all everybody else's opinion about what you need to be doing with your life? Have you learned the language of boundaries to be able to tell people no, not now, or no, not ever? Have you built into your life a steady rhythm of spiritual practices that help you to refuel, re energize, and renew your mind? Have you found an adequate way of resting? Now, I know some of y'all that's in perimenopause probably say no to that one because rest is not easy. I know I had insomnia, still get it sometimes. And so that could be difficult, but it doesn't mean you can't take a nap. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take some time just to have quiet and wind down so that your nervous system is more relaxed, so that you're not on high alert, so that you can find a rhythm of breathing that's going to help you to find calm? Do you wake up in the morning and have a routine to get you ready and set for this day, to put your mind right, your heart right, and your soul on point? These are the things we can do for ourselves as we renew our minds, and they help you to renew your mind. I also want to also remind you that renewing your mind is not a single thing. There's not going to be an earth shattering moment when you say, "Woo! See, my mind has been renewed." Well, sometimes you know that because you respond the way you usually respond to the same old stuff, and one as a matter of fact, I remember one day somebody was all getting loud on me and stuff, and I just listened. I got finished, and they finished doing what they were doing. They couldn't get a reaction out of me, so they just left. And I turned around to my friend. I said, "My have how I have grown." And they were like, "Yeah, I was waiting for you to cuss them out." And I said, "For what? I'm too calm right now to be cussing people out. I ain't got time for that. Getting my blood pressure all up, sweating and stuff, spitting, can't, mad. I'm not doing that. I just give people a smile now and keep going. And my silence is not me choking things down because I really don't want to be bothered. I'm not bothered to respond. And so I don't. I save that energy for something more important. Renewing of our minds is a powerful tool in helping you to go deeper in your faith, to manifest all the parts of you that are in there, to get answers to your questions, and to find enlightenment. That's why I do it. That's why I'm so fit on that. That's why I reject the notion of reinvention. Reinvention to me sounds like I have to leave a part of me behind. Every part of me is a gift for me. It's something that I learned. It's something to help move me from point A to point B. No, I did not enjoy it while it was happening. Yes, I may have cried and I may have shaken my fist at God. I might even have gotten mad at God and refused to talk to God for a while. But once I calm down and once I get through, I realized not only did I make it through, but I realized that God had been by my side the entire time. So, reinvention does not allow me to hold all those things. At least it doesn't seem like it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me in a way in which I think that might sound better to me or make it more understandable to me. Um, but I don't think I don't know if I need that either. Because renewing of the mind has taught me that sometimes I got to release false beliefs. Sometimes I got to stop the unhealthy patterns. I got to stop having unrealistic expectations of myself. And sometimes those voices I thought were God, I need to stop listening to them. Because sometimes those voices tell me, you ain't never going to be nothing. Every time you try something, you fail. This ain't for you. Other people can do it, but you can't. I don't need those voices. And now I learned how to quiet them too. I learned how to reframe what happened to me so that it's no longer a failure, but it was a learning experience. I learned how to extract from that a lesson and call it a lesson. No, I wasn't successful. Yeah, I can even say I failed. But I learned a whole lot about me, and I learned what I want to do and what I don't want to do. So that's valuable. That's gold right there. Why would I want to give that away? I feel like growth is one of the most faithful ways I can respond to God's love. And y'all know I believe love is revolutionary. So if I believe that, revolutions are to change things. And so I change. Revolutions are to improve the way things are done, to tear down systems that are not working and use systems that are working. So those beliefs, sometimes I got to let them go. Yeah, mama may have given it to me. Grandma may have said this over and over, but sometimes they were wrong. They were right for them, but they're wrong for you. They came from a place of having to survive each and every day in a different context that we aren't living just like that. I'm not saying that we have escaped. We haven't escaped racism or indignation, but we aren't living the way they lived either. And so, as we move from season to season, I do take with me the power of prayer, the power to rest and withdraw from this world so that I can renew my mind, so that I can allow my body to breathe in a way that's healthy and satisfying and restful for me. I can put up boundaries and tell people no and not explain it as if I owed them an explanation. I have learned that it's okay to not live up to other people's expectations because they didn't create me. And I don't live my life to satisfy them. And so in this lifetime, I had to consider that maybe this next season isn't asking me to reinvent myself. It's inviting me to renew my mind one more time. It's inviting me to unfold in a whole new way. It's inviting me to find the richness of who I am, to find that diamond that's in the center of my soul. Perhaps what this season is inviting us to be is our best selves. So, with that, I'm going to leave you all. I love you, and I want you to keep dialing in here. I hope y'all saw the new show on Wednesdays, Nurse Connie, on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. And as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's always something to see. So make sure you dial in and give us some love. Subscribe, tell your friends about this radio network. So many people always say, we don't help each other. Help us. Subscribe, tell your friends, share. Okay. But until then, you all be blessed, be good to yourselves, and love yourself as much as I love you. Amen. Take care. I will see you next week. And next week I will be in Pennsylvania. Okay. Love you. Bye bye. Be good. Welcome to Daughters of Divine Joy, the radio show for women who are tired of choosing between success and their sanity. Each week, we gather around this virtual table to talk about the things nobody else is saying out loud: how to lead without burning, how to set boundaries without guilt, how to honor your calling without sacrificing your soul. This is a sacred place for women who are done accepting chaos as normal and ready to claim the joy that's been their birthright all along. This is Daughters of Divine Joy. Welcome.